In the early weeks of 1942, as battle raged in Western Europe and North Africa, the Japanese threat to invade Malaya and Singapore became a reality. It was unthinkable to the British that the island they'd nicknamed the Gibraltar of the East could fall, and yet fall it did with dire and terrible consequences. Some 80,000 prisoners of war were taken in Singapore, 50,000 more in Malaya. No wonder British Prime Minister Churchill described it as the worst disaster and largest capitulation in British history. But before the events of 1942 unfolded, the Japanese had had to neutralize the possibility of American intervention. They were thirsty for resources. They had no source of oil to speak of, having lost a shattering 93% of their supply after US President Franklin D. Roosevelt ordered an embargo in July 1941. Although the Japanese enjoyed an oil treaty with the Dutch, that too was broken as the Netherlands joined the embargo. Starved of oil, metal and other resources, Japan could either draw back and lose face or seek to find the resources it needed elsewhere. Those resources lay in the South Pacific. The US Pacific Fleet was the only force capable of challenging Japan's navy. The Americans had bases in the Philippines, which could threaten lines of communication between the Japanese home islands and the East Indies. Every oil tanker heading for Japan would have to pass by American-held Luzon. On December 7, 1941, the Imperial Japanese Army Air Force laid waste to much of the American fleet and Air Force stationed at Pearl Harbor. It was a strike of such audacity it almost defied belief. President Roosevelt described it as
a date which will live in infamy.
No longer could America take an isolationist view. The war could no longer be seen as a purely European conflict. On December 8th, the US Congress had voted that a state of war existed between the United States and Japan. On December 11th, the Axis countries of Germany and Italy declared war on the United States. Congress immediately recognized the existence of a state of war with Germany and Italy. The US was now at war on all fronts. The conflict in the Pacific and the war in Europe had different causes. Part of the reason they became entangled was Adolf Hitler's decision to declare war on America in the hours after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. And yet, the Japanese had requested no help from him, and even if they had, he had none to offer.